everybody and welcome back to the Blossom Crochet channel. In this tutorial I will be showing you step by step how to create this absolutely beautiful scarf. So this is a really simple pattern. It is a 1 row repeat, so once you've got that first row over and done with, every other row will be exactly the same until you're ready to finish off. So I'll just give you a close-up of the detail in this scarf. It's a really beautiful one to make up and it will look just as nice in a single colour or variegated yarns, or you can change colours every row if you want to as well. It's completely up to you. We're only going to be using 1 stitch for the whole of the project, so it's absolutely perfect for a beginner as well. So you can use any yarn that you like, and we will talk about hook sizes when we get started with the tutorial. I'm using a hand-dyed yarn here. This is the incredible Psychedelic DK from Siobhan's Crafts, and I think this works up really amazingly well. I'm undecided yet whether I'm going to finish this just and leave as a long scarf and add some fringe or tassels or pom-poms to the end, or whether I'm going to join it together to make a looped infinity scarf. I haven't decided yet, but that choice will be the same for you when you get to the end of your stitches as well. You'll have to decide how you want to finish that off. So you'll be starting with your slip knot. Now I like to have some drape to my yarn, so even though the yarn that I'm using recommends a 4mm hook, I will use a 5mm for the entirety of the project except the foundation chain. So for the foundation chain I'm going to go up a full hook size bigger than the hook that I intend to use for the rest of my project. So like I say, I'm using DK yarn, but because I want that drape, I will use a 5mm for the stitches, but for my foundation chain, I'm going to be using a full hook size up, so I'm going to use a 6. And you want to do your foundation chain in a multiple of 3, so however wide you want your scarf to be, just make sure it's a multiple of 3. For anyone who's wondering, the scarf example that I showed at the beginning, I did a foundation chain of 21. So yarn over, pull through, it's 1, 2 and 3. So if you just complete your foundation chain in a multiple of 3. Once you've got your foundation chain, you want to finish off by adding 2 chains to the end. So whatever amount you've done, you're going to add 2 more. Obviously I'm just doing a really short sample piece here for you. So I'm ready now to swap back, so I'm going to remove my 6mm and I'm going to swap to my 5mm, which I will use for the rest of the project. And you're going to work into the 5th chain from the hook, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is our 5th chain, and you're going to do a treble. So the entirety of this project is using UK trebles or US doubles. So yarn over, insert into that 5th chain, yarn over and pull up, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's your first treble. You then want to do another treble back into that same chain. So again, yarn over and insert, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You then want to chain 1 and then back into that very same chain again. You're going to do 2 more trebles. So you'll have 4 trebles and a chain 1, all in the same space. You then want to skip the next 2 chains. So you're going to skip 1 and 2, and into your 3rd you're going to do the same again. So you'll do 2 trebles, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 trebles back in that same chain. And then again skip 2 and repeat. So you'll do that all the way along. You'll skip 2 chains and then you'll do 2 trebles, chain 1, 2 trebles, all in the same chain. And I will meet you as you get towards the end. So as you get towards the end, you should have 3 chains left, and you're going to skip 2, and then into that very final stitch, that final chain, you're just going to do a treble on its own. So 1 UK treble. Give your chain a little wiggle because it can pull up these loops quite big, so just give it a little wiggle to flatten it out again. So that is how you should look, and you'll have however many groups of stitches depending on your width. So now we're going to turn and then you're going to insert your hook straight into this very first space where your working end is coming up from. So you'll go straight through the top of that first stitch, go through the whole of the stitch, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're going to go behind the left vertical post of that stitch that you've just made, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and that just gives us a treble height stitch but without the gapping that you would get from doing a chain. Obviously if you want to chain and turn, that's totally up to you. We're now going to skip straight to our first chain 1 space in between our groups of trebles, and you're just going to work exactly the same as before. So 2 trebles, chain 1, and then back into that same chain space, 2 more trebles. So you're just stacking them on top of each other. And then again, you'll skip to your next chain 1 space, so you'll be skipping all of these trebles each time. You'll skip the last 2 and the first 2. And then in your chain 1 space, you will do your 2 trebles, chain 1, and 2 trebles, all in that same space. And again, you'll continue that until you get towards the end of your row. And that is where I will meet you in just a second. So I've completed my final group of stitches, and then you can see this is what we're left with at the end. So you're going to, sorry, that was the dog snoring. So you're going to skip the top of these next 2 trebles, and then you're going to finish off with a treble on its own, and this time we're just going to be working into the top of those skipped chains from our foundation chain. So skip 2 trebles and then a treble into the very next part of that chain. Okay, that is how you should be looking now. So that technically is the row repeat, but I will just show you one more time because obviously this time you won't be working into skipped stitches. So again, you'll turn and then straight into this very first stitch. You'll yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through both, and then behind the left vertical post of that stitch, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. And then again, you're going to jump straight to your first chain 1 space over here, and you'll repeat your group of stitches. So 2 trebles, chain 1, and 2 trebles back in that same space. And again, you will repeat your stitches all the way along into each of your chain 1 spaces. So you'll have these little peaks where you will work your new stitches. So again, if you just continue that, and I will meet you as you get towards the end. So once you've worked your final group of stitches into your last chain 1, you'll skip the next 2 trebles, and then you're going to be working into the very next stitch, which will be the top of that little turning stitch that we did. So yarn over, skip those 2 trebles, and into the top of that turning stitch. So again, make sure you're going through 2 loops. You'll complete your treble on its own. Okay, so obviously it doesn't look like much on this teeny tiny sample, but that is what you will repeat over and over again until your project is as long as you want it to be. So obviously absolutely any length. You might want to do it just as a single looped infinity scarf, you want to do it as a 5 looped infinity scarf, or you might want to leave it as a really, really long scarf and then attach some tassels or whatever, fringe for example. I will leave tutorials for all of those things in the description box. Now if you want to finish off, you might want to leave it with this slightly pointy edge, but if you wanted to finish it off with a perfectly straight edge, I will show you how to do that now. So once you've completed as many rows as you want, you'll turn and we will work a final row. So you'll do your starting stitch as normal. You'll be well versed in that by the time you get to this point. And then you want to chain 2, and then you're going to skip straight to your chain 1 space and you'll slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through both. And then you'll chain 3, skip to the chain 1 space and slip stitch. Chain 3, slip stitch in your chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch. and then once you get to your final chain 1 space, you will chain 2 and then treble into the top of that turning stitch as normal. And you'll see that will just give you a straighter edge for you then to attach your tassels or your fringe or whatever it is that you plan to do. So then the top and the bottom are exactly the same. So again, check the description box for yarn links and also for the tutorials for adding fringe or pom-poms or anything like that to your scarf. But that is it for the tutorial. I really do hope you've enjoyed this one, and if you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment and let me know what you think. But thank you as always for watching, and bye for now.